Welcome back to talkSTEM at Duke. We are exploring the engineering quad. Welcome to the Harrington Engineering Quadrangle, or as we like to call it, the E-Quad. A college quad, or quadrangle, is usually rectangular, which is why it's called a quad. It serves as a central gathering place for students. But our E-Quad is shaped more like a triangle. One of the oldest quads in the world is Mob Quad at Merton College in Oxford, England. This quad was built in 1320 and has been around for a long time. We will be exploring a newer quad at Duke using the engineering design process, especially the first few steps, observing and questioning. We will look at the buildings on the E-Quad and try and observe their exteriors and determine how old they are. Our first building is Hudson Hall. You can see that it's a brick building with columns and looks a little bit like a factory. The next building is the Tier Building, which is quite different from Hudson Hall. It's concrete with more windows and very boxy looking. And then we have this big building called the Fitzpatrick Center for Interdisciplinary Engineering, Medicine, and Applied Sciences, a big name for a big building. This building has lots of metal and windows, but it also has stone that looks pretty old. Take a second and think about which building you think is the oldest and which is the newest. Hudson Hall is the oldest building on the E-Quad, built in 1948. Then the Tier Building, built in 1984. And the Fitzpatrick Center is the newest building, built in 2004. Observing and questioning older buildings can help us design for the future. After all, we don't want to have to start from scratch with every new building. A good example of this is the Wilkinson Building, the newest engineering building on Duke's campus. You might notice that the Wilkinson Building looks a lot like the Fitzpatrick Center and is another big classroom building. In fact, it took 47,760 feet of plumbing to build the Wilkinson Building. That's equal to 33 Empire State Buildings. Buildings like the Wilkinson Building, or even giant skyscrapers like the Burj Khalifa, require engineers to use what they've learned from past buildings to build new ones. This is why observation and research are important steps in the engineering design process. So whenever you're in a building, look at its design and observe so you can get ideas for how to improve. We will keep doing this at the next stop in talkSTEM at Duke.